Buongiorno, Internet. I'm in Civitavecchia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Most people who come to Civitavecchia are it's a port that you stop at to get to Rome. But I've been to Rome before, so I don't feel the need to sit on the bus for several hours to get there. Because there's an organised trip to go to Rome, and it's an 8-hour trip. And I don't feel like doing that, so this is why I've chosen to do some different things today. I'm about to go on a walking tour of the markets, and then this afternoon we're going to visit some Etruscan tombs. It looks like it's going to be another scorching day here today. It's already hot and muggy, and it's like 9 a.m, so yeah. It's going to be a good day, but hopefully the markets will be, they'll be hot and crowded, but they'll be under cover, so it shouldn't be too bad. Well, my walking tour didn't quite turn out. I waited around at the meeting point and no one turned up, so I phoned them and they were very apologetic. The tour had been cancelled because they didn't have enough people to do it, and they'd tried to contact me, but of course because I was on the ship I wasn't getting any phone calls or anything, so I hadn't got the message. And they were so apologetic about the fact they hadn't managed to message me that they sent me directions to go to a particular cafe and said there'll be a gift there for you. I went to the cafe and they gave me a t-shirt and I could have a coffee or a gelato or anything I liked. So I had a lovely gelato and I sat outside the cafe. It was in a pretty little square, so I sketched the square it was in, and it was a really nice way to spend an hour, even if it was probably the most expensive gelato I've ever had. I assume I'm going to get a refund. It was a bit hard to tell from the phone call, but it was an experience and I enjoyed it. And yeah, I got a t-shirt and a gelato, so I'm happy. I was thinking I didn't need lunch if I was going to go on a culinary tour that was going to give me all these different foods and things, but saying I've only had a gelato, I think I'll go back to the ship, grab some lunch and cool down a bit because, you can probably see I'm sweating, it's hot. I've had this lovely little, it's a park, it's an orchard, a little patch of loads of trees. It's very beautiful, it's tiny, but it's right next to the bus stop, so I'm just sitting here to cool down for a few minutes. These trees are some sort of citrus. I don't know if they're limes or they're just unripe something else. They kind of look like limes. I just found one of the trees with some flowers still on it and I sniffed it and it's definitely lime. Amazing smell. Right, time to catch a bus. This is the area where all the shuttles from the 4 ships in port, I think it is. There's 3 mega ships and then our little ship. And the shuttle bus is serving them all, and also all the hop-on, hop-off tours and all the other buses to Rome and everything else are leaving from this one place. So every time a bus arrives, it's chaos in there. So I think I'm going to put my camera away. There's probably pickpockets around the entrance, so I'm going to put my camera away and wait until I get on the bus. That was a very hot bus ride. The 2 of the really big ships, the MSC and the Norwegian, are both boarding right now, and so there was a huge queue of people with suitcases trying to get onto the shuttle buses, and so there was like suitcases all down the aisles and people sitting and standing wherever they could, and it was so packed and so hot. But then we stopped at the MSC ship and a whole lot of people got off, and then we stopped at the Norwegian ship and a whole lot of people got off, and then there was just me left on the bus to go on to the last stop, which was the Viking ship. So I felt very exclusive. I got the whole bus to myself for the last 1 minute. Didn't make it any cooler, but at least I wasn't scrambling over suitcases to get out like some of the other people had to. Gonna go have some lunch now and then going on the tour to the Etruscan tombs, which should be interesting, I think. We had headphone systems issued by the ship that let us hear the guides, and on this tour our guide used that on the bus as well as while we were walking around instead of using the bus's PA. So I wasn't able to record any of her commentary to accompany the Italian scenery this time. Sorry.
I told you the history of the Etruscans started from the 8th century before Christ. But to talk about them, we have to start before, mainly for the tombs. Because over there you see that there are what we call urns. Seems to be mushrooms, you see? Big mushrooms in stone. You see over there?
Oh yeah.
We call them urns. Ashes urns. Because at the beginning, between 11th century before Christ and 7th century before Christ, they used to make cremations for the bodies. So was, ashes. At the end, you have ashes.
Despite appearances, this isn't a toilet block. It's one of the tombs. The guide explained that as the Etruscan civilization developed, they started interring their dead in these underground tombs. The archaeologists have built concrete sheds on top to protect the painted tombs from the light and moisture that would otherwise destroy them. Oh, this is so cool. The guide said they're about 2,500 years old, so pre-Roman, and she described the frescoes as being like ancient Instagram, showing their daily life. The whole hill is littered with tombs, and they're finding more all the time, so we weren't able to visit all of them, but the ones we did see were amazing.
Something really romantic.
It's romantic, but it's romantic because it's something that maybe
400 meters for 250 meters.
this flower too, but it's very simple. It's a lotus flower they use as a wishing for the
Colours don't come out well on camera, but they're quite intense in real life.
Steel.
That was another long hot day, but they were really interesting. They are 2,700 years old, I think. They were really fascinating. And our guide was incredibly informative. She had so much information. She said normally she does like a full day tour of the tombs, and we had a 4-hour tomb which included travelling there and back, which I think it took about half an hour to get there, and we also visited a museum in that time, so we really only had about an hour or so at the tombs, and I think you could justifiably spend a whole day there. There was just so many of them. She said the tombs stretch over like kilometres. I think it was 5 kilometres by 2 kilometres, the area where the tombs are. The necropolis of the city, which I learned is the Acropolis is the place where people live, and the necropolis is where you bury them. So you don't get temples in necropoli. You only get them in acropoli. Wandering around the tombs was actually quite pleasant because there was a nice breeze. We were sort of up on top of a hill, and even though the sun was really beating down, there was a lovely breeze, and so we just went from patch of shade to patch of shade while she told us the stories. But then we went into the town, which they call the New Town, even though it's like 1,000 years old. It just seems ridiculous to a New Zealander to hear a 1,000-year-old town be described as new. But it's new compared to the old town, the old Acropolis town, which dated to the same sort of time as the tombs did. So I guess in that sort of way of thinking about time, then yeah, 1,000 years is new compared to 2,700. The museum was lovely. It was quite a small museum, but it was in a lovely old Renaissance building. But it was so hot in there and so muggy, and like they didn't have, the only air conditioning they had was like the natural air conditioning of the flow of air through the building, which wasn't too bad, but it wasn't enough for the heat of the day. So I was really fading by the end of that. We had like 20 minutes at the end where we could go and explore on our own, and most of us either went to the bar for cold drinks or to the gelateria for cold ice cream. You can probably guess which one I chose. It was very good. Had a lovely peach gelato. So nice. So, yeah, now I'm back on the ship, and I think we're sailing pretty soon, but I haven't had dinner yet, so rather than watch the sailing, I might have to go and grab some dinner. But there will be more adventures tomorrow, so don't forget to do all those nice internety things like liking and subscribing and leave a comment. And I will see you next time. Ciao, Internet. Civitavecchia?